Good morning. My name is Marco Kiki, and I'm here to teach you how to win your tribunal case. I've been involved in at least quite a few cases. The last case had a settlement of close to 800,000, and the one before that had a settlement of close to £500,000. Um, this video will be one take, and I don't plan on editing anything, so I would strongly recommend you pay full attention. So starting from how this works, generally corporate has their own approach of doing things. In some days ethical, on some days unethical, and when corporate wants you out, they really want you out, and they tend to rely on you not being able to fight back or you not having enough strength. Because I mean their lawyers will come to their rescue. So I'll just start from like the old timeline or the old process of how this works and what you should do, the steps you must not miss to ensure that you get the justice you need, the closure you need, and in some cases the apology you also deserve. So the first thing you have to do is you have to raise an internal grievance. This part is very important. You have to raise an internal grievance because the court needs to know you gave the company a sufficient chance of defending themselves, or even finding the appropriate measure to do what is right by them. So if it is settled by the internal grievance, all well and good. Ideally, this would be whoever you will be reporting or whoever has reported you in this case. HR would likely be there as well. It's ideal you have HR take notes as opposed to controlling the entire conversation, because it's as much as your say, as much as the company say. Within the internal grievance, you can go along with the representative. I would strongly advise you do that. You can go with one of the McKinsey friends or thereabouts. So that's for the internal grievance side. So maybe about 2 or 3 weeks later, the grievance report should come out, and it likely will not work in your favor. And this is the point where you have to contact ACAS. It is extremely important that you notify ACAS. ACAS is also a mediation body as well. They can step in and because you have to contact ACAS, you need an ACAS reference number before you go to courts. ACAS is also optional. In the last case I'm familiar with, ACAS was not involved. You can just get an early conciliation certificate if you don't believe justice will be served. So once that part is done, once you have your ACAS conciliation certificate, if you went through the process or if you did not, you still need an ACAS conciliation certificate to say, oh, this external body got involved in the process. Once you have that certificate, and you are sure you want to go to courts, once you know that none of this will be resolved, you take the ACAS conciliation certificate, then you actually file a claim, and you will start. Just let me get the name of the document. A notice of a claim. So you serve a notice of a claim to the company you will be suing, and you would also add the grounds of why you would be suing this company. You need to be conversant with the law. You need to know exactly what part of the law was breached. It will be very important along every step. So once you file notice of a claim, they will be served. You also need to be very particular about this time. I think the ideal time for them to serve the company is within about a month or two. If it goes beyond that, there might be like some issues with the tribunal itself. So you have to follow up with the tribunal as well. So once the company is served, they also have the chance to respond, and they will acknowledge it, and they will respond to the tribunal to the claim as well. So they will put out a grounds of resistance. A grounds of resistance will pretty much be what you're already familiar with, and ideally will just be mostly fluff as well. This is where the big lawyers come in. It's no longer HR. It's most likely the company's insurers and their lawyers as well. They will come and they will basically tell you everything you have said is invalid. They will do a lot of beating around the bush. They will try to suppress what you have said. They'll try to in every case, both sides have their strong and their weak points. You need to be very familiar with what their lawyers are trying to avoid, because they want to distract you with their very strong points. So do not get distracted. Do not get too emotional. Ideally, whenever you get a response like this, I would recommend you take about a day, 2 or 3 to actually process it, and as opposed to like responding immediately. So that would be the way to go about this. I can still discuss that in another way. So once that is done, I mean the court is already aware that there's already a back and forth between you and the company, and so the court looks at at their response. I believe that's called the ET1, if I'm not wrong, or ET3. Don't quote me on that. It's called ET3. So once the court sees your grounds and their ET3, they make an assessment saying, is this worth taking to a preliminary hearing? If they find that your case has merits, it goes forward to a preliminary hearing, and this is where this is the first time you will be speaking to a judge. And again, this advice is mostly for self-litigants. And before I get to what happens in front of a judge, for employment cases, I think it's cost follows. Each side are liable for their own costs compared to, like, let's say civil courts. Compared to, let's say, civil courts or fast track, each side is responsible for their own costs. Which means if you lose, you are not liable for your company's costs, and you're not liable for their costs unless you did something, let's say, egregious. Let's say you told lies, you told flat out lies. But if you are watching this video, it means you likely have a valid case, or you are interested in pursuing a valid case. So one thing you also need to be aware of is their lawyers will try to threaten you. They'll tell you so many things about how you're going to lose, how you are going to you don't stand a chance, how they're going to try to recover their costs from you when you lose, not just if you lose. But you must not falter at this point. You must have like your full confidence. You must always believe in exactly what you are fighting for, because if you don't believe what you are fighting for, it is very easy for you to be shaken up and down. And in the middle of all of this, I would say companies ideally would not see any incentive to settle until they face a judge. So you have to understand that the preliminary hearing is the exact point where they begin to see, okay, maybe you truly have a case. So for the preliminary hearing, what I've been told, what I have seen is you stay in front of a judge. The company also is well represented by their lawyers as well, and the judge tells you to narrate your own side. Mostly as the self-litigant, you are given a lot of leeway, you are given a lot of grace. So the judge will read out the grounds, the judge will read out even your employer's ET3 as well, and the judge will tell you to narrate precisely what you believe this case is from your perspective. I believe this is where most of the counts that will hold or will stand, or you would have to defend in a final hearing, you'll be cross-examined on. This is exactly where it starts getting listed out on. At this point, if your case does not have a merit, they can apply for a cost order against you. If there is a cost order, you need to be very careful and you need to reevaluate your case. But if you get to a preliminary hearing, there is a very high likelihood there won't be any cost order against you. That being said, after the preliminary hearing is done, you would be asked to exchange documents, because this is not a case whereby you can ambush the other side with brand new information. Both sides have enough information that the final hearing judge is going to see. So and once that is done as well, you would also have to submit like your schedule of laws. I think that has to be submitted about a month after your preliminary hearing, and that is exactly where you have to like table out the type of losses that you have incurred, be it financial, be it emotional, and whatnot. And at the end of the day, you have to tie this to a figure. So it's based on this figure that you have to that the company would actually say, okay, this is what we stand to lose if we decide to proceed with this case. So at this point, you have to consult a lawyer. You have to be able to like itemize what you've lost, and more often than not, the rule of thumb is whatever you've itemized, you will probably get only about 70% at best. So if the company ideally would reach out to settle in a scenario like this, and when that happens, you must just understand that they typically have a budget that they would not exceed, which would be around 80% of your claim. So in total, I would say the cases like this from From when you submit your notice of claim to your preliminary hearing, it takes about a year and 2 months on average, and possibly another 2 years for the final hearing. But most companies would want to settle before the final hearing. Once again, my name is Mark. If you have any issues regarding this as well, you can always reach out to me. And I can find time to discuss this and also help you move forward with your case. More often than not, my time is paid. So if you were to speak to me or if you get any consulting, that would be the case. So let me know exactly how this works out for you, and feel free to reach out to me in the contact I have listed below. Thank you.